Okay. So, I hate to even run that without grease. Now we got the grease out. The greaser's got his grease. Okay, we can't run this without grease because it would be just, it's doing enough work as it is. So we grease it up here. We got those little tips sticking out, which are, they gotta come off. This is all gauged to the point that that's the amount of depth that I need to make a ring, to get in a ring, and then because I touched this. What's the matter with you? And so that this cuts out. And so I need more power. For some reason, I don't seem to have it. But like I cut. So that's how that works. And then so she cuts through like that. And it has to do with it not being lined up easy. So you can cut them like that. It's really important to be able to like relax while you're doing it. So that's it. And you can watch TV, because that's why we have a computer here, you can watch the YouTube, and you can cut through that. And did I mention that making rings is labor intensive and time consuming? I leave out the time consuming part. It's really art, So that's those we cut into the short strips. Short pieces, so when they screw in, they'll screw in so they just need a tiny filing to be done, and then they get flanged over. And that's the procedure. That's how we do it. That's what's done with the rings. Then you have a ring. Hopefully you got it.
Yeah, I want to see that machine go again.
The hammer. Yeah, I got a lot of work to do with the hammer, because that piece, once you get a piece, you should continue it, because you notice you waste a little on the end. See that little grip part there? That has to be fixed. So once you got one, you can't do one for every ring. So you really should kind of like do the whole job by itself. You want to get it on the downstroke, because if you ever got it, you want to get it so it's like that. That way the machine can run into it with a little run, force power. You'd have to go through there maybe 3 more times before it gets done. And that's life. So that's how the machine works, and it's got to go through maybe twice more in order to get pounded down thin enough in order to be able to be spun into a ring. And that's to that. We saw how you got to cut the Phillips heads and short enough to tap in there. I mean, it's almost self-explanatory. And the only thing we haven't seen is this here, which is AC, right? one's nice to have foot control on because if something bites down on the, so you put the ring in here, and whatever happened here? You really need a magnifying. You have glass on here because you want to be centered. You can get away with that, but now you really can't get away with it. You sort of can tap it out centered, but still, if it's not concrete on the bed and centered, it's not gonna be good. So that one's shooting too high now. A hair too high. You can shim it up if I've got shims available. To bring it up a little bit so it sits high enough. And then you put a hole in it. And then once you get the hole, well, okay, we gotta put a hole in it and we gotta shim it up. So I'll tap it, and that way I can get away with it. This one's cut so that obviously you go on the other side of the cut. I almost cut them all because I don't want anybody getting stuck inside of a ring. I wouldn't want to be, because especially if it's got sharp edges. Little toolkit here. We're gonna need this. Will tap the hole after we're done. We'll hope that the center punch isn't out in the. And you believe it or not, there is a workshop connected to this house besides. This is just the jewelry shop. And it's the motorcycle shop. And sometimes the tools go on tour. And in this case they are. But considering we're working inside in copper, we can use this drill bit to do it. No, we can't use this drill bit to do it. And the punch is such a famous tool that it's out in the motorcycle shop. Oh, sometimes it's so difficult to do everything. And this is, usually any job that you see me doing and you think like, wow, that's really, it takes a long time to set up for. Usually you set up in phases. You do one job one day, and you set up for that job, and then you have 100 rings done, and then you do the next job. You don't just like doing all the jobs in one time for the movie. It doesn't happen. You do I've done big stocks, and this day is just this job. So you got we got a little bit of a tap on there. Hopefully we'll be able to get that tap. And this glass isn't working. Why? The glass stopped being on target. And that must be because why? This is not enough back. Now we're getting on target. Can't be that. Like I say, I like to do it with under a glass so I can see I'm hitting the dead center, because then it's kind of a bummer to ruin a ring. Of course, if the hole's off center, it's bye-bye. And then we just hit the reset button on that ring. All right, got it. Closed up on me. Pushed too hard. Another thing is the keys wind up going into the shop in the backyard. That key is on tour. Oh, there it is. The key is on tour. Okay. Let's see where we're at anyway. It won't hurt to take a look at it. Oh, look at that. Hit it on center. My glass isn't set up the way I usually like it, a little better than that. You can see why the foot pedals are so important. You can really lose a finger around here. There we go. We got ourselves a hole. I'm going to take this as the same tap that goes with the screw. We tap it out. And then comes the glory of having cut the screws with this machine here, because I've tried cutting them after. We have to make sure we get the right screws with the right tap, because they're coming off. This is a bigger tap, that size tap, and I know we got probably 1 million of them because that's my favorite. Come on. That's the size that I'm loaded with in there. Could tap it a different size. Or we could cut one screw, but it's not lined right. Okay, so we got a no-no on that. Those went like hotcakes. And they're loaded up here. This is the size. We got one ready to fall off there. We could almost, oh, then we could get that out without all of them falling out at the same time. No. What do I got? You see this? See they're cut just about the thickness of that stuff. Boy, is that hard to do. It's impossible to do without that. I've learned a lot of this stuff by trial and error. I don't. It's actually tight. It's threaded tap tight. You don't have to flange back. Then you run into this problem where you might have an aperture problem. And we do have round files. I'm pretty sure the round files are on tour. It's way too coarse. But then you kind of take a rounded file and when it comes to, and the glory about a Phillips head is, is that you can kind of do this. This is what makes the whole Phillips head experience, it has to do with that pyramid, you know, and that shape of the Phillips head. It's so friendly. They can put the ring on it, so now the ring is kind of secure. So I'm filing, but I'm not putting any. But the Phillips head's holding it for me. Imagine holding it. There's no other. If you didn't have, you couldn't do it without that pyramid shape. So this whole time, this is a labor of love here, because you love the Phillips head for holding that screw steady there, you know, because it would be so hard to hold that tiny little screw. And then you basically have made a ring. That's where you made a ring and you put it on, and you got that look, you know, like the big like 7-carat diamond look, but it's just a Phillips head, and it polished up good. This you can see how polished that was. You know, that big flat stock that's brand new. Well, this is used stock that I get from people that take down houses. So.
Nice shot of that.
Yeah, and this isn't the high-end one either. This is the intermediate one. The high-end one that you make out of the roll has a much better look as far as the edges go on it. It's really got a beautiful look. So this is the intermediate one we made. So that's only one phase of it. Now let me show you another phase of this annular. So we don't the annular. This is an annular. See, and it needs a lot of tricks to it, so you can see all the stuff that I have. These are hot items because I think, you know, bracelet wearers are like more easy to find bracelet wearers than those ring wearers. I don't want to wear a ring, but everybody wants a copper, and you say copper's good for your health. You know what I mean? So like, these are big items, and I can't hold on to them. I can't. Just if I make them, I like that, you know. But they'll be covered because basically they're an annular with a Phillips head, a real Phillips head cut and put onto it. And remember, what the patent is not this. That's not the patent is not this look. What's patent is that look in the back where you see that round where you can see the Phillips head on the other side. You've never seen that on any piece of jewelry before. Okay, well that's the patent, is this technique, and the technique winds up having that special look, which is never, it's called, it's never existed until I brought it into existence. It's hard to believe, but maybe people aren't as good with their hands as I am and making machines. So now this one is basically the same thing. It needs a hole. It's all ready to be done, and you have a thing where you want to flatten this one out too. Over there. Someday I'll learn how to which switch runs what. Okay. That's that one. And this is the same thing. See, this stuff gets a real good look to it when it's pounded. Oh, but you're saying, look at these things on the end of it. Believe me. Oh, here's another one with the things on the end of it. We got two of them. Wow, we got two of them. This is a big find. Look, it doesn't come with things on it. It comes very Sharpie on the end. Got two different grades. Matter of fact, this is the thick grade, and I got one with lesser grade. Just see, this one's more bigger than that one. And this is sharp, nightmare. This is the nightmare, right? So you got to get rid of that. Then you can't put a screw inside this material, right? You got to put one of these on there. See where it's on? You slide one on there, and then get that in there. Where the heck you get those things from? That's what you're asking yourself, right? Well, this guy, you wonder why I'm putting up with him being in my way. Because he's my friend. He helps me. He does another job that is impossible to do without it. And we used up your metal. I'm sorry about that. He likes his metal straight. But he goes in here. And on the string, you just go like this, pull it up from there. There's one of these. But we got this and this. We got a machine, so we're not going to suffer too much with that. I'll do it. Maybe you could open your mouth and take a little more down. Could you? No. Maybe I could switch you over.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Don't drop the camera. That shouldn't stay there anyway. we're done with the books.
I think we should have just like one special place where you can talk about the
You
design
wanna
a
have
little bit
a
more.
pile of 'em. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. As long as
Because I think people need to understand why it's a sacred symbol.
Oh, well, that's the sacred symbol of the Phillips head?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we need to do that in the shop. We could do that while we're sitting on the street selling it, trying to make
Yeah.
people take them, you know?
That's good.
You know?
Yeah.
Because they are a street takeout thing. They're definitely go out.
Yeah. There's a bracelet right there.
All right, we don't worry about those. Those.
Yeah. Let's...
The one we're working on. This one is from Zero's working on.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I need is these two. Oh, so see, like this is totally recycled, and it's not. It's a pain in the neck, and it's too long. I got something short. Unless you'd stand on the other side of the room.